Good morning and welcome to St Aidan's as we celebrate the feast of Saints John Fisher and Thomas Moor. In a few moments we'll begin with a hymn which is Blessed Feasts of Blessed Martyrs. You should be able to find it on the internet or certainly in a hymn book if you have one at home with you. Let's begin together with our hymn, Blessed Feasts of Blessed Martyrs. Blessed feasts of blessed martyrs, holy women, holy men, with our love and admiration, greet we your return again. Worthy deeds are theirs and wonders, worthy of the name they bore. We with joyful praise and singing honor them forevermore. Faith prevailing, hope unfailing, loving Christ with single heart. Thus they glorious and victorious, reigning before the martyrs. I content of every hand, I yielding heart of victors at the last triumph, with the host of angels born. Therefore, hold I pray in glory, strong and sure with Christ on high. Join to utterance of appreciation, when before him we draw nigh. Praying that his life complete, all his fleeting moments past, by his grace we may be worthy of eternal bliss at last. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. grace of our Lord Jesus Christ, the love of God, and communion of the Holy Spirit be with you all. Thanks for joining me today for this feast of the martyrs, St. John Fisher and Moor. They were the first of the martyrs in the time of Henry VIII, leading into the Reformation in England. Today, 1 year ago, that Father Michael Murray passed from this world to the house of the Father. So we gather today in particular in remembrance of him. We do so in St. Aidan's, which was his home church. It's always easy to remember Father Michael being parish priest and then retired up in St. Anthony's. But Father Michael started down at this end of the village, growing up here in St. Aidan's as a teacher in St. Aidan's School. And then with time being a priest up in St. John's Parish, dedicated to our martyrs today, before finishing his time before his retirement in St. Anthony's, and then parish priest of Our Lady of Peace, of St. John, St. Elizabeth, and St. Anthony's combined together as one family. In particular, not feeling like really it is a year on, we gather in his memory, asking that the Lord welcomes him to himself, and asking too that Michael prays for me and you, the spread of the gospel in our home here in Withenshaw, and for all of us to come to know the Lord better. As we begin our celebration together, we turn to the God who loves us, relying on his mercy and his forgiveness. Lord Jesus, you are the way that leads to the Father. Lord, have mercy. You have poured out of the people the Spirit of truth. Christ, have mercy. You call us to be your witnesses to the very ends of the earth. Lord, have mercy. May Almighty God have mercy on us, forgive us our sins, and bring us to life everlasting. Glory to God in the highest, and on earth peace to people of good will. We praise you, we bless you, we adore you, we glorify you. We give you thanks to your great glory. Lord God, Heavenly King, O God, Almighty Father. Lord Jesus Christ, only begotten Son. Lord God, Lamb of God, Son of the Father. You take away the sins of the world. Have mercy on us. You take away the sins of the world. Receive our prayer. You are seated at the right hand of the Father. Have mercy on us. For you alone are the Holy One. You alone are the Lord. You alone are the Most High Jesus Christ, with the Holy Spirit, in the glory of God the Father. Amen. Let us pray. God of truth and justice, by whose gracious servants John Fisher and Thomas Moor stood as champions of your church at this time, grant us by their example of prayer, that following always good conscience and holding fast to the truth, we may at last meet verily with them, be partakers forever in the inheritance of your saints in God. We ask this for our Lord Jesus Christ, your Son, who lives and reigns with you in the unity of the Holy Spirit, God forever and ever. A reading from the second book of the Maccabees. Eleazar, one of the foremost teachers of the law, a man already advanced in years and of most noble appearance, was being forced to open his mouth wide to swallow pig's flesh. Those in charge of the imperial banquet, because of a long-standing friendship with him, took him aside privately, urged him to have meat brought of the kind he could properly use, prepared by himself, and only pretend to eat the portions of sacrificial meat as prescribed by the king. Such pretense, Eleazar said, does not square with our time of life. Many young people would suppose that Eleazar, at the age of 19, had conformed to the foreigner's way of life, and because I had played this part for the sake of a paltry brief spell of life, might themselves be led astray on my account. I should only bring about into disgrace on my old age. Even though for the moment I avoid execution by man, I can never, living or dead, elude the grasp of the Almighty. Therefore, if I am a man enough to quit this life here and now, I shall prove myself worthy of my old age, and I shall have left the young and noble example of how to make a good death eagerly and generously for the venerable and holy laws. With these words, he went straight to the block. His escort, so recently well disposed towards him, turned against him after this declaration, which they regarded as sheer madness. Just before he died with the blows, he groaned aloud and said, "The Lord, whose knowledge is holy, sees clearly that though I might have escaped death, whatever agonies of the body I now endure under this bludgeoning, in my soul I am glad to suffer, because of the awe which he inspires in me." This was how he died, leaving his death an example of nobility and a record of virtue, not only for the young, but for the great majority of the nation. Gospel of the Lord. The response is, "Father, into your hands I commend my spirit." In you, O Lord, I take refuge. Let me never be put to shame. In your justice, set me free. Into your hand I commend my spirit. It is you who will redeem me, Lord. Father, into your hands I commend my spirit. You have seen my affliction and taken heed of my soul distress. Have not handed me over to the enemy, but set my feet at large. Father, into your hands I commend my spirit. But as for me, I trust in you, Lord. I say you are my God. My life is in your hands delivered from the hands of those who hate me. Father, into your hands I commend my spirit. Let your face shine on your servant. Save me in your love. Be strong, let your heart take courage, all who hope in the Lord. Father, into your hands I commend my spirit. Alleluia, Alleluia, Alleluia. After the man who stands firm when trials come, he has proved himself and will win the crown of life. Alleluia, Alleluia, Alleluia. The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Matthew. Jesus said to his disciples, "Take care that no one deceives you, because many will come using my name and saying, 'I am the Christ,' and they will deceive many. You will hear of wars and rumors of wars. Do not be alarmed, for this is something that must happen, but the end will not be yet. For nation will fight against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. There will be famines and earthquakes here and there. All this is only the beginning of the birth pains. Then they will hand you over to be tortured and put to death, and will have you hated by all the nations on account of my name. And then many will fall away. Men will betray one another and hate one another. Many false prophets will arise. They will deceive many, and with the increase of lawlessness, love in most men will grow cold. But the man who stands firm to the end will be saved." The Gospel of the Lord. In this time when we are in the easing of restrictions that have been placed on us, or even in the midst earlier of the lockdown. It's interesting to read some of these passages that talk about the end times from the Gospels. Jesus talked about there being wars and earthquakes, other kinds of natural disasters, people hating Christians on account of his name, and the love in people growing cold. Because one of the things that we have seen in and amongst this time is that actually sometimes these disasters can bring out the best in people as much as the worst in people. And I would argue that certainly as things have gone on after the initial panic, certainly we have begun to see the best in people. People helping each other out. People coming and thinking more deeply about what it means to be human, what it means to have faith, and asking the bigger questions of life. And that's why Jesus in the Gospel calls on us to be patient, calls on us to hold firm to the end, whatever trials may come our way. And we see that in the second book of the Maccabees. The two books of the Maccabees that are in the Bible tell the story of the Jewish martyrs, that in a time when Israel was once more occupied by a foreign power, who insisted everything looked the same, they resisted and said that they were going to hold the laws of their ancestors. Why? Because those were the laws handed down by the Lord to Moses, the laws that their ancestors had kept. That's why Aidan in our first reading says, well, as a teacher of the law and an elder in the community, someone well advanced in age, he wasn't going to let all that he had worked for over 90 years go out because of trying to avoid the execution. He'd rather finish life nobly than to give in and do something which would be dishonourable. It's in that context that we look at the martyrs John Fisher and Thomas Moor. One a layman, the other a bishop. In many ways, it's one of those funny ones where actually we know more about the layman than we do about the bishop, usually. Mainly because Thomas Moor was the Chancellor of England at the time, and someone very close, certainly in the beginning, to Henry VIII. But someone who, again, when Henry wanted to do things that Thomas couldn't say, yes, you can do that, such as beginning to change the rules regarding divorce and remarriage to suit himself, Thomas would rather have finished his days like Eleazar did, in prison, rather than betraying everything that he had stood for and worked for over his life. And again with John Fisher, he was the only one of the bishops who really opposed Henry on this one. All the other bishops mainly just went with whatever Henry said because it was easier to do that. And that's why both were locked up and both were eventually executed. Because, as Thomas puts it, he remains the king's good servant, but he is God's first. Their faith was more important than their political allegiances or loyalty. Thomas never felt that he betrayed the king, but rather that he held fast to the greater ideals first. As we look back on this year since Father Michael left us, many people will remember many things about him, or have funny stories and remembrances of personal nature. But the one thing really to think about in some ways is looking at that last 6 months really that he lived as whilst without knowing it, he became increasingly more ill. He continued to give that example of steadfastness in faith. I can remember being here for the Easter Vigil on that Easter last year, as we celebrated here in St. Aidan's that night of the resurrection. Father Michael here with me for it. And even though he was no longer able to participate in the sense of reading or joining in the prayers, he continued just to come and to celebrate, just to be here, be that witness and that presence to the good news that we have in Christ, the good news that he had dedicated his life to. And that's really what martyrs are. They are witnesses to the faith, people who are willing to give their life in the service of the gospel. And in that sense, all of us are called to be martyrs. Martyrs are not just those who shed their blood for Christ. Those are the ones we canonize and hold up as saints and martyrs in the traditional sense. But above and beyond that, a martyr is someone who is a witness to the gospel. That's why we could say, in that sense, Mike Murray was a martyr, someone who witnessed throughout his life to the gospel. And it's what we are called to do as well. We may not be called to shed our blood for Christ, but all of us are called to give a witness to the love of God in our lives. Blessed are you, Lord God of all creation, for through your goodness we have received the bread we offer you. Reach the earth and worship you, come for us, bread of life. Blessed are you, Lord God of all creation, for through your goodness we have received the wine we offer you. Reach the vine and work of keeping us. It will become our spiritual drink. Pray, my brothers and sisters, that my sacrifice and yours may be acceptable to God, the Almighty Father. Receive, Holy Father, the offering we bring on the feast of the Holy Martyrs, St. John Fisher and Thomas Moor, and grant that we yourselves may be found steadfast in confessing your name. We ask this through Christ our Lord. The Lord be with you. Lift up your hearts. Let us give thanks to the Lord our God. It is truly right and just, our beauty and our salvation, always and everywhere to give you thanks, Lord, Holy Father, Almighty and eternal God. For you are glorified when your saints are praised. Their very sufferings are the wonders of your might. In your mercy you give ardor to their faith. Their endurance you grant their resolve. And in their strength the victory is yours through Christ our Lord. Therefore, O creatures of heaven and earth, sing a new song in adoration, and we with all hosts of angels cry out hand, we acclaim. Holy, 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 Lord God of hosts, heaven and earth are full of your glory. Hosanna in the highest. Blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord. Hosanna in the highest. You are indeed holy, O Lord, and all you have created rightly gives you praise. For through your Son, our Lord Jesus Christ, by the power and working of the Holy Spirit, you give life to all things and make them whole. And you never cease to gather a people to yourself, so that from the rising of the sun to its setting, after your sacrifice may be offered to your name. Therefore, O Lord, we humbly implore you, by the same Spirit graciously make holy these gifts we have that they may become for us the body and blood of your Son, our Lord Jesus Christ, as we command who celebrates the Eucharist. From the night he was betrayed, he himself took bread, and giving you thanks, he said a blessing, broke the bread, and gave it to his disciples, saying, "Take this, all of you, and eat on it, for this is my body, which will be given up for you." In a similar way, when supper was ended, he took the chalice, and giving you thanks, he said a blessing, and gave the chalice to his disciples, saying, "Take this, all of you, and drink from it, for this is the chalice of my blood, the blood of the new and eternal covenant, which will be poured out for you and for many for the forgiveness of sin. Do this in memory of me." The mystery of we proclaim your death, O Lord, and profess your resurrection until you come again. Therefore, O Lord, as we celebrate the memorial of the saving passion of your Son, his wondrous resurrection and ascension into heaven, and as we look forward to his second coming, we offer you in thanksgiving, holy and living sacrifice. Lord, we pray for the oblation of your church and recognize its sacrificial victory, by whose death the world reconciled us to yourself. Grant that we, by nourished by the body and blood of your Son, and filled with his Holy Spirit, may become one body, one spirit in Christ. May he make of us eternal offering to you, that we may obtain an inheritance with your elect, especially the most blessed Virgin Mary, Mother of God, with blessed Jesus Christ, with your blessed apostles and glorious martyrs, with Saints John Fisher and Thomas Moore, and with all the saints, on whose constant intercession in your presence we rely and faith. May the sacrifice of our reconciliation, we pray, advance the peace and salvation of all the world. Be pleased to confirm the faith and character of your fervent church on earth, with your servant Francis our Pope and Father Bishop, the order of bishops, all the clergy, and the entire people, gain for your own. Listen graciously to the prayers of this family whom you have summoned before you. In your compassion and merciful heart, gather to yourself all your children, scattered throughout the world. Remember your servant the priest Michael, whom you have called from this world to yourself. Grant that he who is united with your Son in the death like his may also be one with him in his resurrection, when from the earth he will raise up with the flesh those who die, and transform our lowly body after the pattern of his own glorious body. To our departed brothers and sisters too, and to all who are pleasing to their passing from this life, give kind admittance to your kingdom. There we pray to enjoy forever the fullness of your glory, when you will wipe away every tear from our hearts. For seeing you are God as you are, we shall be like you for all the ages, and praise you without end, through Christ our Lord, who gave you bestow on the world all that is good. Through him, with him, and in him, O God, Almighty God, in the unity of the Holy Spirit, all glory and honor is yours, forever and ever. Jesus taught us, O God, our Father, with confidence, let us now pray. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Deliver us, Lord, we pray, from every evil. Graciously grant peace in our days, that by the help of your mercy we may be always free from sin and safe from all distress, as we await the blessed hope, coming of our Saviour, Jesus Christ. For the kingdom, the power, and the glory are yours now and forever. Lord Jesus Christ, who said to your apostles, peace I leave you, my peace I give you. Look not on our sin, but on the faith of your church, and graciously grant our peace and unity in accordance with your will. You live and reign forever and ever. The peace of the Lord be with you always. Lamb of God, you take away the sins of the world. Have mercy on us. Lamb of God, you take away the sins of the world. Have mercy on us. Lamb of God, you take away the sins of the world. Grant us peace. Behold the Lamb of God. Behold him who takes away the sins of the world. Blessed are those called to the supper of the Lamb. Lord, I am not worthy that you should enter under my roof, but only say the word, and my soul shall be. These holy men shed their glorious blood for the Lord. They loved Christ in their life, they imitated him in their death, and therefore were crowned in triumph. Let us pray. Renew us, Lord, with this food from heaven, and strengthen us by the example of earthly apostles, St. John Fisher and Thomas Moor, that following always the voice of conscience, we may ever be your good servants. We ask this through Christ our Lord. Our today is a feast day, then please do mark it out in some way as being special and out of the other. We are fortunate in this week that we do have quite a run of feast days, because Wednesday, when we have Mass back here at St. Aidan's again, is the feast of the birthday of John the Baptist and St. Peter and Paul at the weekend. The Lord be with you. May Almighty God bless you, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Go and announce the gospel of the Lord. Have a good day.